Okay, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this repeat of a session I delivered at the Tableau conference 26, of course, in San Diego. We had a really full room, so I know not everybody could join in, not everybody could make it physically, in San Diego either. So very happy to talk again today about taming the analytics wild thanks to MCP Server. And then I'll talk about Agentic Governance, which is quite a trendy thing and super interesting for the future. Now, of course, the objective of this webinar is to build your Tableau environment and content for quality, optimize for performance, and govern with confidence. My name is Patrick Perrier. I'm the VP of Product Management here at Wiiisdom. It was, I believe, my fifth or sixth TC. I've done one in Europe before COVID. I've done one in Vegas and now three in San Diego. Here we go. We have the count. So it's always nice to be there and see everybody, the atmosphere, the buzz, hear all the good news during the keynote. So again, it was a great show. Now, you've seen this slide before. Today, I will talk about two different things that we do at Wiiisdom. One of it, which is live already, which is MCP Server, and there'll be something else which will be released in our June edition. So again, something which is just a few weeks down the road. Now, when we talk about analytics wild, it's a term that actually we have reused from one of our customer who talks about one of his self-service environment, which he calls the jungle. Now, we know that as Tableau environments grow and the teams grow and more self-service, you end up with more dashboards, more data sources. Some of it is corporate, some of it is self-service, but at the end of the day, they are on the same platform, and we could have issues of noisy neighbors or somebody affecting the things of others, and it's really hard to optimize and govern most of it properly because at scale there's just so much content. Now, why Tableau is hard to govern at scale? Well, if you're this webinar today, I'm sure you know the answer to this one. You have a lot of dashboards. Who's the owner of everything? Is the performance issue coming from Tableau itself or bad query? Is it coming from the data layer? If you're on Tableau server, is it down to the architecture of things? Is it networking if you are on-prem dealing with data in the cloud, for instance? And then these other issues of having duplicated content or data sources, which dashboard is really giving me the correct information? And all of these things, well, with all the good intentions, manually, it is not possible to review everything, to validate every single thing one by one before releasing to production. And once it's in production, how do you continue to maintain all of that at scale so users can trust that the information they need to consume is accurate and has been validated recently, and not 6 months ago when things were released into production. And that's what we do at Wiiisdom. At Wiiisdom, when we talk about analytics governance, we split things into three different pillars. And the first one is automated validation, making sure that everything is correct, accurate, performance, user experience, and especially before you push some of this governed content into production. And next, there's the lifecycle management. Again, making sure that when you develop in dev or tests and you promote to production, that you have a real auditable process in doing all this, and very importantly, complete lifecycle management. And finally, once you are in production, make sure you keep an eye on your Tableau environment and content to make sure that things did not degrade over time, the quality did not stop, so keeping an eye on everything. Now, I'm sure you heard that Tableau now has an MCP server. It's everywhere on LinkedIn. It was, there were so many conferences or sessions at the conference. And today I'll do something really different. Every sessions you've seen is about people doing analytics, interrogating data using the MCP server. Now, what I'll do today is I'll show you a different ways of using this Tableau MCP server, but I'll do that not only with the Tableau MCP, but I will also do it with our own MCP server at Wiiisdom, so you can do automated governance. And on top of all this, I will show you how to connect with a third MCP server, in this called Atlassian. So in this first demo, I'll show you how to govern Tableau content powered by MCP server, and I'll do that without logging on to any of these tools. So for that, I am going here to VS Code. I could have used Cloud Desktop, for instance, and others. Now, imagine you may not know Jira, you may not know Tableau. We've seen customers where their QA teams don't actually know even Tableau. Or maybe you don't know Wiiisdom, but you want to do automated governance. Now, what I've prepared here is a series of prompts that I can either type, or I could even speak. I quite like to do this. Let's see if it works in this live demo. It did the job well during the conference. I'll just enable the microphone. Okay, here we go. And I'll try by saying, hey, good morning. Give me the tickets that contain a workbook I need to work on. This ticket should contain the name 2026. Okay, so I ask, good morning, give me the tickets that contain the workbook I need to work on. And this ticket should contain the name 2026. So now, based on the natural language, the MCP server will know to go to the correct MCP, in this case, Jira, and it says, hey, the ticket you need is TC26 workbook to work on, and it contains MCP demo. TC26, Patrick, is what you need to work on. Excellent. I even have the link of the ticket. That's great. Now, if I carry on, and I'll say, all right, so looks like I need to work on this document, and I want to validate the performance before going to production. Give me more information. So now, once again, the AI will use the natural language. Now understand I need to go to the Tableau MCP server, and the Tableau MCP server will give me more information. I know the URL, I know the different views, when they were used and how many times and that sort of thing. So that's great. And if I wanted to do more, I could. Okay, so now that I know which document I need to work on, all right, well, I know that Wiiisdom has validated this document recently. I want to make sure it takes less than 10 seconds to open. Otherwise, of course, bad user experience, and I don't want to promote that into production. So again, by asking this, I'm now going to the Wiiisdom MCP server, and then we are going to interrogate the different tests and validations that we've done before. Now, this one here, it took 96 seconds, so well over the 10 seconds. So the test was not successful. And then what I could do here is to say, okay, well, that's great. Thanks for checking the test. I've done performance. I could have done data validation and others. But now I want to go ahead back in Jira to update the ticket. And we can see here that it's going to the Atlassian MCP server. So in this demo, what I've done here is that I have demonstrated how to operate the different MCP servers, including Tableau and Wiiisdom, for the purpose of doing automated governance just by doing natural language. So that is something pretty advanced. And as I go to the next slide, I'll explain how we can use that in a agentic context. Now, agentic governance is what? Is using automated agents. So the word agents is used a lot, but when we talk about agentic, is these agents are working automatically and continuously they will review, they will recommend, but they even could act if you choose to, automatically for you. And all that being obviously governed, validated, can be audited, and so on. So instead of having me, a human, going to MCP server or going to an agent and say, can you do this? Can you do that? What is this? What is that? The idea is you go to your agents, you tell your agents what is important for you. For instance, every time a new document is published or updated, or there's a ticket in Jira, I want to automatically go to Wiiisdom to validate and update the Jira ticket and notify people in Slack or Teams or something like that. And you just want this to happen automatically. And then based on success or failure, maybe you want some actions to be taken automatically on your behalf instead of just notification. So that's what agentic governance will be. So you could do this in a number of ways. You could build an agent on top of these MCP servers. I just did a demonstration, so that would be real cool. Or you could have an agent inside of a product, in this case Wiiisdom, to do this agentic governance for you, following some very simple instructions. So let me show you. So what I'll do here is I will go to Wiiisdom in a moment, and I will talk to my agent, and I will give him some instructions. I want to test that in workbooks, the dashboards are always present, available, and takes less than 10 seconds to open. I want to make sure that the worksheets, which are part of these dashboards, are present. I know there's a very important filter for me called region. I want to make sure that the filter region is always set to all values by default. And I also want to make sure that the region filter automatically has all the right default values. Now, this is a feature that will be released in June, which is why it's called proof of concept. But when you talk about AI, context is important. So I will give the context of the workbook that I want to test. And now, with my agent inside of Wiiisdom, I could simply have a conversation about what I want to test. Or if I already know, I could just give all of the different instructions. Now, again, thanks to natural language and AI, what will happen is the definition of this test will be created for me automatically. I don't have to go around and drag and drop anything, configure any values. Again, the AI, the natural language, will understand what needs to be done. And here we go, automatically. I know which workbook to open. I know which dashboard and worksheets to validate. I want to make sure that my region filter exists, and I want to evaluate every single value of that filter. Importantly, as always, if you want to verify that the AI result is correct, you can, and we have this test defined for me perfectly. So now I can go ahead. I have this validation pipeline created for me. This agent is now ready. I can now schedule this and run this automatically in the background. So what I've just demonstrated here is that using, again, natural language, I can program an agent to do automated validation for me. So moving from assisted governance, like with an MCP server, but to agentic governance. So now these validations will be done for me automatically. So in summary, what we've talked about here is, well, the worst, the jungle, the wild, the unmanaged analytics, where you have a platform where you don't really know what's going on and you don't have time to validate what's important, to manual governance. Okay, you have a product like Wiiisdom, or maybe you do it manually, where you go ahead and you validate some of the most important content. Moving to the future, where thanks to MCP Server, you can do things at scale, but a lot faster, because you don't need to use any tools. You can talk, you can communicate and exchange with these different tools. So tests are created for you a lot faster, so you can do even more at scale. To assisted governance, where things will be done on your behalf, to agentic governance, where something runs automatically. They observe, they decide, and they act again in the limits that you have defined. And all this, of course, audited in the background. So, well, thank you very much. I hope you found this interesting. It's very the beginning of agentic governance. There's a lot coming up with MCP servers in agents. I'll be very happy to continue this conversation with you. Please don't hesitate to get in touch.